Hey, welcome to our channel, Living in Fort Lauderdale with Kevin Sues. We're going to kind of give you the 411 on some of the great neighborhoods here in Fort Lauderdale area. So, and there's over 40 little communities, neighborhoods, communities, however you want to describe them. Each of them have their own great things about them and their own little characteristics. And with that many neighborhoods, folks, there truly is something for everybody here in the greater Fort Lauderdale area. So hey, let's just jump right in and kind of kick things off with Weston. Now, Weston is one of those cities that consistently scores as one of the coolest places in South Florida. In the western portion of Broward County, it has a little bit of something for everybody. It was originally designed, it's one of probably the grand masters of a planned community. It was designed around golf, tennis, country club life, safety, community. It has just a little bit of something for everybody. Okay, I mean, it's got a nice, huge regional park that has skate parks. It has tennis courts, it has a swimming pool, and did we mention golf? I mean, Weston was basically designed to have for golf. It was built all around having access to all kinds of golf courses. I mean, there are golf courses for those that are attempting to play golf like myself, and then there are plenty of courses that are available for folks that have really built their game up. So, and it's one of these communities, it's a safe community, it's a very great community. It's been the way it was set up and the way it was laid out, it makes a whole lot of sense. It's got some of the best schools in all of Broward County. It's got all kinds of recreational facilities. It's really got a kind of an A+ quality of life. As a matter of fact, niche.com, one of the sites that we go to kind of get a feel for what other folks are saying about the area, actually gives it an A+ from a way of life. So, and again, location, it's in the western portion of Broward County, okay, and it kind of butts right up to the Everglades, so you get a little bit of that nature aspect of things, and it's just a very, very nice area. But it's not so far out that you can't get to all the other great things about South Florida and the Fort Lauderdale area. You're about 20-25 miles from the beach, 20-25 miles from downtown Fort Lauderdale. You're probably about 35 miles from Miami and about the same equidistant to Boca. So it's available. You can get to anywhere you want to get to. From there, it's right off of Interstate 75, so you can go north, you can go west out to the west coast. It's right off of 575, so you have that exit that takes us all around Broward County. It's just great for folks that are looking for that little bit of community and you're not right on top of what's going on the beach area. And I mean, there's the other thing is that it's often overlooked is the Weston Town Center. Shops galore, eclectic shops, boutique shops, chain restaurants, all kinds of great things at the Weston Town Center. Definitely worth a look. We're kind of heading northeast, if you will, from Weston. We're looking at Coral Springs. Now, Coral Springs is another one of the cities that's consistently ranked as one of the best places to live in Florida. And as you can tell by the way the population has been growing. Right now, the population of Coral Springs is about 130,000, which is a big jump from when Coral Springs was built back in the mid 70s, where they had a population of 5,000 to 10,000. It's a very, very family-friendly city, very family-friendly neighborhood, and atmosphere setup. Has some very, very highly rated schools. Has a number of great parks. As a matter of fact, personally, I think it probably has some of the largest number of parks per square foot that we've seen. We've been to most of the parks in Coral Springs, and we have not at all been disappointed. There's a sports complex at Coral Springs. It's a water park, basketball courts, a skate park. It also has a tremendous number of shopping opportunities and dining options. And it's just the way it's spread out. It's just one of those planned units that's spread out logically. So everything that goes north to south makes sense. Everything that goes east to west makes sense. And the kind of distribution of housing communities to shopping to business to schools, it really all just kind of makes sense. So it kind of feeds into having a lot of logic. Now, you have some areas that have been built up a little bit more than others, but across the whole of the piece, Coral Springs really has maintained kind of that equilibrium, if you will. There's not one area where you run into a whole bunch of traffic and then another area where it's completely vacant, but it's just the way it's spread out. It just makes a whole lot of sense. It's been a huge boon to folks that are looking to come down into the Fort Lauderdale and the South Florida area. So Coral Springs, definitely want to take a look at on your list.
You know, I'm Kev, and we're living in Fort Lauderdale with Kev and Suze, okay? We're one of the original YouTube channels down here for the Fort Lauderdale area, okay? And one of the things that we love doing more than helping everybody else who with any kind of real estate related questions, because Suzanne and I are both licensed realtors, okay? It's basically sharing the area around Fort Lauderdale and the area in South Florida, especially areas like Pompano Beach, where folks have been asking us about specific information. We love sharing that information with everybody. We love showing everybody basically, you know, where we live and why we love living here. So if you have any questions at all, please feel free to give us a call, shoot us a text, drop us an email, DM us, okay, or click on the link below and you can go ahead and set up a 40 to 45 minute session where we can talk about Pompano Beach, Fort Lauderdale, South Florida, any kind of real estate related issues or questions you guys may have. And oh, by the way, okay, make sure that you click the bell to get notified every time we drop a new video out so you can subscribe. Please hit like if you like it. Okay, and if for some reason you didn't like it, please let us know so that we can make improvements.
Here's one that we kind of recently gotten familiar with. It's called Cooper City. Okay, it's got a small population, only about 34,000 folks. Okay, it's a really small town and has a kind of a really tight-knit community, and it boasts a couple of the high-ranking high schools, and it's considered a very safe environment. You know, and in 2023, November, this past November, the Cooper City home prices were up about 0.9% compared to last year, which is kind of keeps it and makes it a little bit more affordable than some of the other areas around. Now, folks, we've gone out and taken a look at a lot of different cities and a lot of little different towns. And Cooper City just really kind of struck us. When you get there, it's very laid back. It's very friendly, very welcome friendly. Actually, Cooper City themselves, it bills themselves as a place, someplace special. And I'll tell you, many of the folks that we've talked to down to the homeowners and the residents down there, they basically agree. And it's really that whole atmosphere and that whole attitude has really made it one of Fort Lauderdale's most popular suburbs. Okay, and it's not all that big. Think of it as essentially going west of Hollywood. There's a lot of green space. You're getting kind of close to the Everglades. So you have a lot of green space, a lot of parkland, and it also has the home to some great shopping, a lot of great restaurants, a lot of great dining. Okay, some of which couple of the ones that we like, we went ahead and checked them out because I can't tell you if it's good unless we've eaten there. Is a place called Uncle Al's. It's kind of a casual eats place. It's been there basically forever. Okay, there's a French restaurant called Vienna Cafe and Bistro. We kind of swung through. All we had was some coffee there. We were kind of at a little bit of a rush, but the folks were super friendly, super nice. You know, and Cooper City is one of those areas where you have a mix of housing. You have condos, you have townhomes, you have single family homes, you have villas, you have a little bit of everything. So there really is housing options and housing prices for just about every budget and everybody who's looking. You know, come the low end, the single family homes, you're probably starting mid 200,000s. Condos are going to be, some of the condos are even less than 100 grand for some of the 1 bedroom, 1 bath condos. However, for those folks that are, that are looking for something a little bit larger, want to kind of spread things out, they have some 4,000 and 5,000 square foot homes that are upwards of 2 and 3 million. So there's a little bit of something for everybody. Now, kind of going back to niche again, niche gives Cooper City an overall grade of an A, which is basically great for families. Okay, gives a B+ for schools, B+ for jobs, and a B for crime and safety. So it's really a nice place for folks to look at going. And we started to see a lot of folks asking us about Cooper City, and they've also been asking us about areas that are not quite as populated, not quite as overbuilt, and that have a good reputation. So folks, Cooper City is definitely one of those that you want to keep in mind. So might as well go ahead and start and talk kind of about the elephant in the room. I'm talking about that from the standpoint of the reputation that it has, from the size of the community, from the variety of the community, and of course we're talking about Parkland. It's in the northernmost suburb of Fort Lauderdale. It actually kind of abuts up to West Boca, and the reason it's got its name is it's a park-like atmosphere. It was originally built to leverage a lot of the farmland, a lot of the parkland that had been there for a number of years. It's a great place to go. It's a great place to be. A lot of folks have gone there. They have fantastic schools. They have fantastic amenities. And as a matter of fact, I mean, we're starting to see a kind of a price correction a little bit for Parkland. It was a huge push to get into Parkland. We're starting to see kind of prices kind of equalize. As a matter of fact, last November, prices were actually down for the first time in quite some time since the pandemic, down about 8.2% over the previous year. But Parkland is still, I mean, the median price in Parkland is still about $917,000, $920,000. Homes in Parkland, however, they're selling after about 50 days from the market. So even those big boys are going very quickly. You know, and the kind of the neat little tidbit about it is that for the first couple of decades in Parkland, they weren't even stoplights, weren't even traffic lights. And there weren't even stores in there. They wanted people to come in, and they wanted to get that sense of family, that sense of home, and that sense of belonging. Now, folks, development has come in and they've actually added some stores and they've added some stoplights, but there's still a couple of areas that are larger lots. There's even an area that's basically considered almost like farming or agriculture. It's kind of an equine area off to the western section of Parkland. Honestly, you would think that a place like this, you're probably going to be way out. And again, much like Weston, it's only about 25 miles from Fort Lauderdale proper. It's about 20 miles from the beach. You're almost a stone's throw from Boca Raton. It abuts right up to Coral Springs, one of the other great neighborhoods. In fact, there's a lot of similarities that Coral Springs and Parkland share. So Parkland is definitely something to consider, a neighborhood to consider, an area to consider when looking at cities and neighborhoods here in Fort Lauderdale. I kind of put this in for a couple of reasons. Number one is that it's actually one of my favorite cities to visit here in South Florida, and it's Davie. It's kind of one of the closer in Fort Lauderdale suburbs. It's actually just outside of the Fort Lauderdale area proper. And it's right off of Interstate 595 and Interstate 75. But the cool thing about Davie is that when you go into the city of Davie, you kind of get the feel like you're going to like a Wild West town, which I think is really cool. And it is one of the most populated cities right outside of Fort Lauderdale itself. Got about 110, 115,000 residents. Okay, it was actually once considered like frontier territory, which I think kind of blends in and leads into that frontier, that Western look. And there's actually even a lot of the areas still maintain that original Western themed buildings and designs throughout the area. There are a ton of, much like Parkland and much like Weston and some of the other areas, some of the areas we're focusing on, there's a lot of green space and a lot of greenland so that you can go out, have fun outside, spend a lot of time outside. Folks, after all, we are in South Florida. 3,000 hours of sunlight a year. You want to be outside. You want to be outside as much as you can. And you want to feel comfortable and you want to feel safe, and Davie's one of those communities that makes you feel that way. It's nearby to Cooper City, nearby to Weston, nearby to Plantation. One of the benefits of Davie that we found is that Davie truly has housing types and housing prices for all budget. Pretty much anything and everything that you could possibly want is available here in Davie. We love it. I mean, I think it's cool. It's one of these areas that I really like going to. We went into one of these Western shops, and I could spend hours in there just looking around and kind of soaking up all the ambiance and soaking up all the atmosphere. Davie, definitely a cool place to check out. Definitely want something to look at and something to consider when coming down to the Fort Lauderdale area. So, folks, so if your mind's buzzing with thoughts about where to plant your roots, if you're curious about the vibe of other neighborhoods, we're here for it. Okay, drop us a note. Go ahead and hit me up with some of your questions that are going on. Give us a call, send us a little text, a little email, click on the little Calendly link, set up a time we can chit chat for about 35, 40 minutes, kind of get any questions that you may have answered. Kind of whether it's the cozy charm of Weston, whether it's the suburb, the allure of Cooper City, kind of the burgeoning city, or any of the other neighborhoods that get your fancy. And hey, folks, by the way, just because we didn't mention your neighborhood in this particular video doesn't mean that it's not something for consideration. If you have an area that you're interested in, if you have questions about it, if you live there and want to know more about it, please feel free to drop your notes in the column in the little box below. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button so that you can get access to all of our videos, and hit the little bell so you get notified every time I drop a new video. So, and here's the thing, just remember, the perfect spot may just be a quick, casual conversation away. So we look forward to unveiling additional secrets of Fort Lauderdale suburbs with everybody. And hey, you know what? We'll catch you on the flip side.